Wally the money that you owe him.
Coffee?
He's not staying.
Yes, sir. Hey, is that guy dead?
Looks pretty dead.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 action thriller One Day as a Lion. The film is directed by John Swab and it stars Scott Caan, who also wrote the film, Marianne Rendon. We have J.K. Simmons, Virginia Madsen and Frank Grillo. Now, the film focuses on Scott Caan's character, Jackie Powers, who is a little bit of a screw-up. He's got a teenage son who is in juvie court in a couple of days, and he's trying desperately to get the money he needs for a lawyer so that he can get his son out of juvie prison. So he agrees to do a job for a friend of a friend, like a local mobster, to collect some money from J.K. Simmons' character, Walter Boggs. But Walter Boggs is not happy to give up this money that he owes. So Scott Caan kills somebody by mistake in a restaurant as he's confronting J.K. Simmons' character, which sets off a chain of events where he then has to kidnap the maid at the restaurant, Lola, essentially putting him on the run, fighting desperately to get the money he needs to help his son, while at the same time Frank Grillo, the local mobster, has to somehow still try and get the money from J.K. Simmons, while at the same time making sure that Scott Caan takes the blame for everything he's done. Now, if all that sounds quite complex, this is one of those films, if you like. It's almost like a modern noir in many ways. It's almost like this film could have been written, like as a modern noir piece, but it's like a Shane Black film is what I'm trying to reach for. I couldn't remember his name then. It's almost like this is just like a Shane Black film. It's one of those intertwining kind of films that dips its toes into many genres. There's action here, there's thriller, there's crime, there's drama, there's comedy, and it actually dips its toes quite successfully, I think, personally, in each of those genres. It's got a bevy of interesting characters. Now, Scott Caan, I haven't seen Scott Caan for a few years in things. He's probably still been working fairly steadily, I expect, but I haven't seen him in a lot personally. He did a lot, certainly, in the early to mid 2000s. I remember seeing him in quite a few things. And I think was he in the Ocean's 11 films as well? I could be wrong on that, but he's actually matured into a quite fine little actor here. He carries this film really quite well, of this roguish, bumbling idiot almost. You know what I mean? He seems to mess up everything he touches. But he's got this roguish charm about him, and he's a character that you can't help rooting for in this film. You want him to kind of get what he needs to get his son out of prison. You don't really even know what his son's in prison for, but you kind of get the impression that he's innocent, so you want the best for him and his son. And, he ends up kidnapping, like I say, this waitress, Lola, played by Marianne Rendon, played wonderfully, in fact, by Marianne Rendon. And that shouldn't work, but there's this undeniable chemistry between them. They almost become like a double act, and it kind of turns it into almost like a love story as well, which I really, really liked. I liked those two characters really well, and I was invested in both their journeys. And then the film drops in J.K. Simmons. Brilliant character actor, as we all know. And while he's not in this film extensively, what you do get of J.K. Simmons in this film is, wonderful. It's a treasure. Playing this modern-day cowboy who kind of lives on a ranch, who owes this money to Frank Grillo's character. It's $100,000, I think, from bets that didn't come in. And he had every intention of paying it. So while the Scott Caan character was ordered to make an example of him by killing him or injuring him, it completely goes wrong. So therefore, the J.K. Simmons character is like, I'm not paying you. You will forgive my debt because of what you've done. which puts him in direct conflict with Frank Grillo's character. Now, the whole storyline between Frank Grillo and J.K. Simmons while the performances are fine, is the least interesting part of the film. It almost feels like it's a plot line that doesn't almost belong in the same film, because you're just so invested in the Scott Caan character and the Marianne Rendon's character, Jackie and Lola, and it keeps you interested just with those characters, but it keeps kind of dropping in like it's one of those films, if you like, where he gets through a scenario by the skin of his teeth, this Jackie Powers character, but he ends up almost in deeper trouble. So he's got to get out of another situation. So it just keeps giving him layers of scenarios and issues to get out of. And it reminds me almost of, Breaking Bad, Walter White, where he completely keeps digging holes for himself, and he's got to scramble to get out of these situations as absolutely the best he can. So the film kind of does that, and does that quite successfully. This character, Jackie Powers, he's just hanging on by the skin of his teeth, by his fingertips throughout the film, and you wonder how he's going to get through this film in one piece. But I actually think the film does a pretty good job of keeping you invested. I think the scores that I'm seeing for this on like IMDb and things like that, I don't think are a good indication of the actual enjoyment factor of this film, and how invested I certainly was in it as well. But do not get me wrong, I'm not here to say again that this is the most outstanding film you will see this year. But if you're interested in seeing like a nicely put together film that's nicely acted with interesting characters, that's got a little bit of humour, a little bit of action, a little bit of drama, a little bit of a thriller, and all those other things thrown in for good measure and stirred up by a fairly talented director, and what you've got here is a film that I think is going to keep you invested. It certainly did me as well, and I actually thought it was quite amusing at times, and it's a film I quite enjoyed giving my time to. So if any of what I've said sounds interesting to you, if this is a film that you think might be something that you would want to watch, check it out. That is my review for One Day as a Lion. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel, of course, very, very soon.